Title: The Canvas of Lost Souls. The Ether and Shadows Gallery was known for housing works that defied sanity. But even among the grotesque paintings and nightmarish sculptures, the picture known simply as The Afflicted stood out. It wasn't its technique, crude and almost childish, nor its muted and repulsive colors. It was the constant feeling of being watched, the oppression that emanated from it, that made it the object of morbid curiosity for all visitors. The urban legend surrounding it was simple: whoever bought The Afflicted would suffer misfortune. The gallery had ignored the rumors for years, until the previous owner, the elderly and eccentric Mr. Armitage, disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of debt and the infamous painting. The Bellwether family, composed of Arthur, the patriarch, an imposing figure consumed by ambition, Eleanor, his wife, a fragile woman trapped in a loveless marriage, and their two children, the taciturn teenager Clara and the restless Samuel, moved into the old Armitage mansion hoping to restore their family fortune. Arthur, a real estate investor with a reputation to clean up, saw in the property an opportunity to redeem himself. The gallery, now part of the property, came with a condition imposed by Armitage's will: the painting The Afflicted was to remain in its place, on the main wall of the exhibition room. Arthur, skeptical of superstitions, accepted without giving it much thought. From the beginning, the Bellwether mansion was a hotbed of tension. Clara locked herself in her room, muttering about whispers in the walls. Samuel, formerly a cheerful boy, became sullen and fearful, insisting that he saw figures moving in the shadows. Eleanor, always nervous, became increasingly anxious and paranoid, convinced that something was watching them. Arthur, for his part, attributed everything to the stress of the move and the gloomy atmosphere of the old house. One night, Clara came down screaming, claiming to have seen the painting change. Arthur, exasperated, accompanied her back to the gallery. There was The Afflicted, but something was different. The figures, previously indistinguishable, seemed to have moved, their faces twisted into more defined grimaces of agony. Arthur dismissed it as an illusion, a product of his daughter's feverish imagination. But she wasn't the only one to notice. Samuel began to draw compulsively, filling notebooks with sketches of the painting, each showing grotesque variations. One night, he showed one to Eleanor. The figures seemed to extend their hands towards the viewer, their eyes filled with despair. Eleanor, already on the verge of collapse, was the first to hear the voice. It was a guttural murmur, barely audible, that seemed to emanate from the painting. "Free us." The voice grew louder, more insistent, filling the house with its ghostly plea. Eleanor locked herself in her room, praying for it to end. Arthur, increasingly frustrated by his family's behavior, blamed the old house and its oppressive atmosphere. He decided it was time to get rid of the painting. One night, while the rest of the family slept, Arthur entered the gallery with the intention of taking the painting off the wall. As he approached, he noticed that the painting had changed again. The figures were no longer vague shapes, but detailed representations of human faces, each looking directly at Arthur, their expressions pleading. Suddenly, Arthur felt an icy chill that went to his bones. The voice, now a desperate scream, echoed in the gallery: "Free us." Arthur tried to lift the painting, but it felt inexplicably heavy. As he struggled, he saw the faces in the painting contort in pain, their eyes bloodshot. One of them, a gaunt face with a sparse beard, looked familiar. It was the face of Mr. Armitage, the previous owner. Horror paralyzed Arthur. He stepped back, tripping over his own feet. The painting came off the wall and fell to the floor with a thud. On impact, the canvas tore, revealing a dark void behind. From that void, a bony, pale hand reached out, grabbing Arthur's arm with superhuman strength. Arthur screamed, trying to break free, but the hand dragged him into the void. Eleanor, Clara, and Samuel woke up to Arthur's screams. They ran to the gallery and found the painting on the floor, with the canvas torn and a black hole in the wall. There was no trace of Arthur. From that night on, the voice ceased. The figures in the painting returned to being indistinguishable shapes, but the void behind the canvas remained, a constant reminder of the horrible truth. The painting was not only haunted, it was a prison for lost souls, and now, Arthur Bellwether was one of its inhabitants. Eleanor, Clara, and Samuel abandoned the Bellwether mansion the next day, leaving behind the painting and its secret. The Ether and Shadows Gallery remained closed, and the legend of The Afflicted became a silent warning to anyone who dared to challenge the boundaries between art and reality, between life and death. The canvas, however, continued to change subtly, and some swore they saw a new face, a face filled with despair, joined to the eternal plea: "Free us."